What's up again, everybody? Yesterday I played in Week 4 of the Tri-State Legacy Dice Masters Tournament. What is the Tri-State Legacy Dice Masters Tournament, you ask? Well, it's a 6-week-long Golden Age ban list tournament, where each week you bring a team that you've constructed from whatever cards that are open and currently unbanned, and do your very best to win. The winning team each week gets added to the ban list, so no one can use those cards from that point on, which really makes you look for new combos and new strategies once the really powerful staple cards have been removed. You score points with wins, buys, and even losses. And at the end of 6 weeks, the top 4 point scorers from every participating store that is doing this tournament will converge on one location and have one final tournament for some giant trophy of some sort. So to give you a quick recap of week by week how my performance has been, in week 1 I took 2nd place playing the Owlman team, where he buffs up a bunch of villains and you just hit your opponent in the face. The winner of that week was Kyle, and he played a really cool Green Lantern and Cloud Kill combination where he just buffed up some attackers and used Cloud Kill to make them basically unblockable. Week 2, I also took 2nd place playing a Batman team that used, obviously, the Batman and Bruce Wayne combo that is pictured there. And that week's winner was Michael playing a Vicious Struggle team. If you've ever played against Vicious Struggle, you know it's pretty strong. Even in this format, it was pretty strong. In week 3, I took 1st place by playing Madam Web and Team Up. That was 2 days after the set came out. So I put that team together, and it worked very well. And here in week number 4, I am bringing a King Black Bolt team. Here's the construction of the team itself. We have King Black Bolt, we've got Nowhere, and Katana. So we basically have the Nowhere package there, Katana being the easy 3-drop that can get out on turn number 1, Nowhere being the purchase that you can buy on turn number 2, and then by turn number 3, if you do things right, you can then get your King Black Bolt out and start hitting your opponent for direct damage. To combine with that, we have Cosmic Cube, because Cosmic Cube is probably the best card in that set, and it does wonders for this King Black Bolt team. The global on Agent Venom is what's going to make this all work. We're going to use it to target King Black Bolt and give him +1 defense, but the defense doesn't matter because when he gets targeted, he deals your opponent 1 damage. Huge shout out to Ben on the Dice Masters Facebook group for throwing out this Agent Venom as a great pair with King Black Bolt here. I think this card makes him extremely powerful. After those 5, we have Wonder Woman Reflections, which is going to help us survive versus any Normans that we come across, which is not banned in this format yet. We've got Raven, just in case our opponents want to target our King Black Bolt with anything. And we have a cheap 2-cost mask character in Kitty Pryde, if for any reason we need blockers and or more energy. As for basic actions, we are running Blink Transmutation for the global, because if we are only looking to purchase one character and then dump all our energy into buffing said character and dealing direct damage, we're going to need some globals that help us survive against aggro, and the pay 1 mask, remove target attacking character die from the attack zone is a great piece to the puzzle. Last but not least, we have Villainous Pact, because it is one of the only remaining globals that allows you to prep a die. All of the others have now been banned because they've been on winning teams the past 3 weeks. And prepping a die is extremely strong, so we want to be able to do that to set up our bag state so that we can prep things over and guarantee some die rolls. Alright, so now that all of the setup is out of the way, here we go with game number 1. Game number 1, I'm playing against Brian, and we roll off, and I win the roll off, so I get the choice of going 1st or 2nd, and after looking at this team a lot, I end up choosing to go 1st. There's the possibility here of not being able to buy Katana with a question mark on turn 1, but as long as I can roll 3 energy off the top right away, then I can at least pick up a Nowhere, because without the access, and oh, that's unfortunate, without access to Rip Hunter's Chalkboard because of the ban of it being on a winning team previously, I can't rip anything over anyway, so it's going to have to go into the used and then cycle through the bag. But unfortunately I don't land here a mask to purchase it with, so the next best thing I can do is purchase a Cosmic Cube and then just float 1 energy, which is not terrible. It looks kind of bad, but it's not the worst thing in the world because of the way that this team sort of lays out. So let's take a look at Brian's team before he begins his turn. He's got this Catwoman, the promo from the most recent promo set. It says when fielded, your opponent loses 1 life, and he also has the Harley Quinn here from Batman that allows you to prep a die each time you field a non-Harley Quinn villain character. So he's going to be using that for ramp. He's also got Carmine Falcone, the common version that pings your opponent for damage each time you field one of him, and they have more sidekicks than you. He's also running Nitro, which I think is a really cool card. In character in general, Nitro is really cool, but hasn't had the opportunity to shine. It's got this ability that allows you to capture characters with defense less than his, and he's got a nice defensive line overall. So those are the first 4 characters. Over on the other side of his board, he has the Joker from the World's Finest set, and this is the common that says when he attacks, draw a die and add it to your prep. If he does, deal 2 to your opponent. So it looks like that is one of his win conditions. It's a bit pricey, and he's also running this Thanos here, which is a crazy cool Thanos from the new Guardians set that basically you name something, and anytime they draw it and can't field it, they take damage. Bane for the pushing the attack global, forcing something to attack, and Doomsday with an Iron Will and this ability that basically says when he's dealt damage, your opponent has to spin down a character or KO a character, which is pretty cool. Those are both pretty high-end characters, including that Thanos above it. So I'm not sure how he's planning on getting to that except by fielding a ton of characters, a ton of those low-cost villains, and just trying to ramp his way there, getting to a Doomsday or getting to that Thanos. I really like that Thanos overall. Let's take a look at his basic actions. He's running Misdirection, which is a really cool 2-cost action that's essentially like Polymorph on steroids. It also has this ability to draw a die from your bag and prep it, so you can cycle something out of used and into the field with it. He's also running Truce, which KOs up to 2 of your character dice to KO up to 2 of their character dice, your opponent's character dice. So that is the full team list that he's running, and if you want to take a look at the team list further, I'm going to put a link in the description below so that you can pop into DM Retro Bucks and kind of check things out. So on to his turn, he's got his 4 dice ready and waiting. He's going to roll those up. Let's see what he gets. He's got, wow, I would much prefer that roll than the roll that I had gotten previously. So he's going to spend all 4 energy, pick up that Harley Quinn. So if I were him and if I were looking over and seeing that I have Black Bolt, even with this poor roll that I had to start the game off with, I would be looking for a ton of small characters and just dealing a ton of damage, because he didn't bring anything on his side of the field that really stops the combo. And here I did roll 3 energy, and one of them being a question mark, so Katana's going to come right out. And I'm going to draw and prep a die using Villainous Pact, which is what makes this this first roll that I had not the worst thing in the world, because I'm going to cycle exactly 5 into the bag and pull 1. So I'm going to guarantee my next pull, my first bag pull, I guess you can say, after the cycle. And so with this next turn, I can conceivably buy a Nowhere and then do the same exact thing, putting it in the bag and guaranteeing that I roll it next turn. Not that I roll correctly, but that I roll it. So he buys a Catwoman with 3 energy, and then Villainous Pacts with that 4th energy, ends up prepping his Harley Quinn. So rolling the 4 sidekicks from the bag plus the Cosmic Cube, we get 6 energy, and that's exactly what we want, because obviously we don't have Black Bolt out. So rolling the cube on the action face would be a bad idea. Here we have 3 energy to spend on a Nowhere, and then we can prep and then buy a Cosmic Cube. And we want to do it in the order that I just said: buy a Nowhere, and then prep, and then buy the Cosmic Cube, because we don't want to we don't want the very low probability of drawing, that's actually not that low, of drawing the Cosmic Cube that we're about to buy instead of drawing the Nowhere. And so here we buy the Cosmic Cube, and we have 2 cubes that are going to go into the bag next turn. And we're going to draw Nowhere, so hopefully we're going to roll Nowhere and land it on the action face, thereby getting out our King Black Bolt and landing him on the field and all that stuff, being ready for those 2 Cosmic Cubes. Camera going insanely out of focus. It'll pop back in there in a second. He rolls the 1/4/4 side, so the top side of Harley Quinn. He's got 3 energy and a fist. Looks like he's earmarked that fist for something. Might be a good idea to force my katana here to attack, because if he forces my katana to attack, then I can't actually pop King Black Bolt into the field this turn. I'd have to pop it into used, which would be a bit unfortunate for me. So yes, that is the 1/4/4 side, just checking on that by zooming in there for a second. Nowhere does not pop up the first roll, so we're going to definitely re-roll that. And let's see if we want to re-roll anything besides that. If Nowhere does not come up, we do have a mask to at least roll that. We probably should have re-rolled one of those sidekicks as well. So we're going to immediately re-roll to pop out the Nowhere and use that to flip out King Black Bolt. And then the question becomes, do we purchase something and then pop that into the bag as well? Or do we just save those 3 energy to drop 3 damage onto our opponent? We could have bought a, we could have bought a Cosmic Cube and had 3 Cosmic Cubes in the bag. That wouldn't have been a bad play, actually. Instead, I'm just going to pass end the turn and pass to my opponent, because I can use this global. I can use King Black Bolt's ability on my opponent's turn after the attackers have been assigned and blockers have been assigned. Or if he chooses not to go to the attack step, he has to at least pass priority to me first, at which point I would decide when to use those. So he's rolling up 4 dice, lands the 2/3/3 side on Catwoman. He's obviously going to field that. That's a very expensive top side. One of the reasons why I'm not too big on the Catwoman from the Batman set, because it has that 2/3/3 side, and none of the abilities seem particularly powerful. So he's got that 2/3/3 side there. He's got 3 energy. He's going to re-roll that character die. It's going to come up on the 0/2/2 side. That's much better for him. He's going to be able to field that for free and buy some stuff. Let's see what he wants to buy. He's thinking about buying, what, a misdirection? No, he's taking a look at Blank Transmutation. He's got a question earmarked there, so maybe he's planning on blinking back an attacker. That doesn't make much sense, because I don't plan on attacking. A force attack global would be a good usage, but if he floats that question mark, the best play would be to roll for masks on my own turn. He's going to buy a misdirection and pop out the Catwoman, and looks like he's going to prep, and I wonder if he's going to push for any damage. If not, he's going to pass to me first, and I'm going to ping him for 3. Looks like he's going to go to the attack step. Question here is, do I want to take the 2 damage and let that cycle into his bag, kind of loading up his bag a little bit more, or do I want to block and keep that in the field? Question is, it's a good question. Most likely we want to let that cycle, take the little points of damage, and just move right along. And I do believe I take a point of damage from that wind fielded effect as well, though I don't have that shown just yet. That would put me to 19. So deciding whether or not to block and then buff up my defense versus not blocking and buffing up the defense anyway. Looks like we are not going to declare blockers. Move to the global step, ping him for 3, so he's going to drop to 17. I'm going to take 2 plus the lose 1 life effect. I believe that's wind fielded, is it not? Should drop me to 17. And then it'll become my turn. So, 2 Cosmic Cubes. So this could be an insanely powerful turn. And both Cosmic Cubes come up, and all 3 of the sidekicks become energy, which means we can deal upwards of 15 damage if we choose to. And that would set him to 2, which would basically mean, unless he somehow kills us on his next turn, then he's looking in a pretty bad spot. So the Cosmic Cube does indeed stack. Action dice in this instant, very similar effect. Does indeed stack. So playing both of those means that any action die or character ability damage that is dealt this turn is buffed by 4. So that's going to do 5, because 1 plus 4 is 5. Then we're going to do another 5, most likely. Can't, and then unfortunately you cannot actually hold this for your opponent's turn. I'm just going to pop him for 15, which I think is the right call. You could conceivably keep the question mark as a mask for your opponent's turn to use Blink Transmutation to push back their attackers, but there's not enough pressure on the board for that to be the case, for me to have to do that. I think this is the right call. Putting him at 2 basically means he has to kill me this turn, which means he has to roll, you know, Carmine and like every sidekick and, I don't know, pray that I miss lethal somehow. Roll no sidekicks, or roll all sidekicks and no energy. He's got a lot of energy himself. He's got Carmine, and it looks like Carmine's on the cheap side, so he doesn't have to pay to field it. It's a 1/3. Just going to pop that out into the field, it looks like. No, thinking about it. He's going to first prep, popping things into the bag. Well, no. Back and forth. 4 energy. So he's going to buy first, then prep. Yes, buying first indeed. Going to pick up a Nitro. Then he's going to prep. See what he pulls. And he pulls a Misdirection, which is a great action. But in this instance, it's not going to play too well. The Harley Quinn is going to trigger when he fields, what's-his-face? When he fields Carmine, and he pings me for 5 damage there. But unless I don't roll energy, if I miss all energy, then then he lives another turn. Actually, his board's open, though. I could push for no matter what. So that's going to be game no matter what this roll is, because I could just push because he left his board open. As well as the fact that I rolled 3 energy here. Going to ping him for 3 right off the top. And that is the power of combining Black Bolt with Cosmic Cube. And the order, while being off a turn, it still landed, and it still landed hard. King Black Bolt is the real deal, and combining it with Cosmic Cube, which no one really knew existed until it came out, right? This was not a spoiled card, Cosmic Cube, so it's crazy to see how powerful it is and how easily kept the secret was until the set released, and so it's going to make its way onto a ton of teams. It makes King Black Bolt really, really strong. So after game number 1, we're going to jump into game number 2 and see if we can keep the streak going. As always, guys, thanks for watching.